The box. You know what is in the box. Or don't you? In this box is, drum rolls please, the spoils of our 100 days of spindle spinning challenge. 31 mini skeins of very much assorted colors, very chaotic. In this video we will start knitting. I will no longer keep the secret from you as what we will be making with this. You might have already seen it in the thumbnail even. Now before we can knit with this, we need to set the twist. I have filled up my cauldron with some warm soapy water, and every single one of those 31 skeins is going to get a nice little bath. Forbidden noodles. And while our yarns are soaking, we can commit ourselves to the question, what shall we knit? To answer the question, I have once again turned to the second book of House from 1902, edited by Miss Loch, needlework examiner to the London School Board. You might remember this one. This was the same historic knitting book as where I got the pattern for my Victorian gloves from. The ones, you know, that I made with dog fur. And yet again, we are going to do something completely crazy with the historic pattern. We are going to use our mishmash of spindle spun yarns to make a very delicate ladies' Spencer. I do hope, however, that I have enough yarn. I'm not sure. I haven't weighed it. It says that we need 4 ounces. I've got absolutely no clue how much yarn I have. This video might be something that will be released months after I record this intro, because I have once again failed to make enough yarn. Anyway, let's go. Let's do this project. I was just a little bit peckish for some more historic knitting, and well, when I spin on my spindles, my yarns get pretty close to Victorian lace weights, so perfect, right? And here we have them all nice, dry and lined up. However, they didn't all fit on the broomstick. Now, we're going to play a game. There was a skein that must not be named. Which one is it? Do you see it? I believe it's this one. However, doesn't look as bad right now. I mean, it is kinky. Come on, camera, focus. But I don't think we shall kink shame in this project. It might get used. Maybe not this bit, because this bit is doing weird stuff, but like, is this hanging balanced? Skein, I think you must be named. Very good behavior. What's that? I seem to be very muscular to one side only? Well, of course, I've been winding all those cakes. So I didn't realize that winding 31 cakes really gets your arm going. They're round. Got my needles, got my pattern. You know what time it is. Let's get knitting. Don't you just love it when your knitting needles match your outfit? So since my spindle spun yarns really diverge and vary in thickness and in length, I chose to alternate them in this knit. So I just went there and back again with one of my skeins, and now I'm just going to take a second one and do that again. This will create like tiny little stripes, and since the skeins are not the same in length, it will make like a chaotic gradient, almost as if I were knitting with two fractal yarns. I think that will be a quite neat effect. I also like it that the pattern essentially is knit in the round but then flat. It's knit bottom up. I had to cast on 182 stitches. That's the entire, well, length round of the bottom. So the two front bits and the back. It's all, there are no seams, or at least no side seams in this pattern. And I think that is just perfect for this chaotic amount of colorful yarn. This is the first set of instructions, which is just a knit to purl to ribbing, but for 32 rows. And I have now used approximately 4 of my mini skeins, so 4 out of 31. That's not all too bad. Once again, my skeins are turning out to be longer than I expected them to be because they're small, really small. But that was only 182 stitches. Right now we are going to be increasing almost like princess seams, but then without actual seaming, for the next 60 rows approximately. It might be that I need to spin more. That's a possibility that I am willing to face. But the decision to go with the small stripes, the alternating skeins, it's a good decision, a good decision. These color changes are so soft, so gradual, so natural. Yes, this is going to be so pretty when it's done, and it makes me so happy because it's so vibrant yellow. It looks like sunlight, like spring, you know? So now, before we continue with our regularly scheduled shenanigans, I wonder, would any of this be historically plausible? I'm not even venturing into the question of historical accuracy, because that is not a goal of mine, but just out of sheer curiosity, could something like this have existed? There are a couple of ingredients we have to keep in mind for this. Firstly, would there have been any spindle spun garments around 1902? Improbable, but not impossible. You see, when the Industrial Revolution motorized a lot of things, including the fiber industry, the arts and crafts movement arose around the 1870s, which revalued crafts like spinning. So a lady very much into that movement could have picked up a spindle and made a spindle spun garment just for the heck of it. Otherwise, in more rural areas of the world, hand spinning was still practiced well into the 20th century. So I think that yes, while improbable, spindle spun garments could still exist in 1902, I mean they exist in 2024. Secondly, would a lady in 1902 knit with such oddments? Oh yes, that is a given. Stripes were very popular in the 19th and early 20th centuries, as they have always been a good way to stretch a favorite color and a thrifty way to use up odds and ends. I found a booklet called Labrador Needs with patterns for the Royal National Mission to Deep Sea Fishermen that states, "Woolens and wool. Odds and ends will be manufactured into garments cheerfully. The fisherman does not mind his Guernsey being one of many colors. Short lengths might be joined together lest they go astray." For good measure, I scoured some museums' websites to try and find examples of garments and accessories being knit up with tiny stripes or with clear evidence of use of odds and ends of yarn. So in all honesty, I do think my plan for this 1902 Lady Spencer would be passable in the time. What do you think? How would this Spencer look in 1902? Would I be ridiculed or praised for my thriftiness? So, our Victorian / Edwardian Lady Spencer. looking like this. Some pretty neat color transitions. Yeah, but I realized I've done it all wrong. Now that I have finished the instructions of the first page, we actually get a better look, a constant look at the picture. And the picture depicts a Spencer in garter stitch. And I did mine in stockinette stitch, because when it said wrong side knit plain, I just thought that knit plain meant make sure it is stockinette stitch. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not redoing this. It'll be a stockinette stitch Spencer. I mean, who cares? Next up is a division for the sleeves, which will be another 50 rows of just knit plain. And then we get to the very complicated stuff. But first, 50 rows of plain knitting. And yes, well spotted, I shifted from the long straight needles to my circulars, just because all this weight was getting really tiresome on my wrists. So this is the same weight, but just not distributed on very long straight sticks. That makes a difference somehow. But since we only have to knit plain 50 rows over the first 69 stitches, this is the point where our Spencer will have different colors in the different parts. It will no longer be the full stripe, the full body around. Both front parts and the back will have different color variations, which is interesting to say the least. Let's see how it turns out. Oh, hello, Bumblebee. Bumblebee, have you found the dandelions? I have heard they are exquisite right now. Exquisite. But of course you can stay in the lavender if you want. Anyway, friends, I might have just gone a little bit ahead, and I have one side, one back finished already. I'm just working on the last side right now, and I still have approximately 10 balls of my Spindle Spun skein yet left. Is this actually a sweater quantity of Spindle Spun yarn? Now, I must say that one bit of how this is looking right now has me just the tiniest bit worried, and that is, how big does it think arm's eyes need to be? Now, what I think is going to happen eventually, but it doesn't really say in the pattern, but just that's what I think, is that I will have to sew the shoulders over here on the diagonal side of the back. So then just this is the arm's eye. Still fairly large, but not as big as if I would just put it over here. I don't know, we're just going to continue, see how it turns out. Oh, and another thing that I am very excited about, and I cannot and I shall not contain my excitement. There's a first poppy! Yes, this is just growing on my terrace. Like, there is a poppy bush growing every year on this specific spot on my terrace, and I just let it because Do you see this? Let's get back to knitting, I guess, and stop being so weird and crouchy. Oh, also, I'm actually right now the skein that must not be named, and when knit up, it must very well be named. It just looks exactly the same as everything else. You cannot see in the knitting that I screwed up big time. Oh, hi. Hello, Mr. Snail. How is life going for you? Just chilling in the sun? Just chilling in the sun? Yeah, that's a great plan. This is how you thank me for portraying your virtues on the internet? You get tangled? The audacity. How am I going to do this? Why don't humans have 3 arms? That would be very useful right now. So I have sewed on the shoulder seams the way I thought. So on the decrease side of the back. So I don't know. Does this look right? Maybe we should get it on a body, and more specifically my body. This seems to be quite correct, I guess. Still very, very big arm size, but the size seems to be quite good. I mean, it looks like it doesn't close, but still have to make the button band. How's the back? How's the back? Can you tell me how the back looks? Contortionist tricks. This is not bad at all. Colors are so nice. The color is so tight. Yeah, shoulders are a bit weird, but you know, that's probably like the Victorian body shape that I do not have. I am not a corseted, padded out body, just my own shapes. Anyway, let's knit the button band and the sleeves. Yes, that is how the pattern says that I should do it. Actually, it even says to knit the button band before you sew up the shoulders, but you know, curiosity kills the correct order of operations. We have come to the inevitable part of this video where there is more spinning, or well, in this case, plying. My 90 days weren't quite enough to finish this entire historical sweater project. So we're back to spinning, and I don't think any one of you is sad about that. This also gives me the opportunity to talk to you about one of my most recent acquisitions. Ba, ba, ba. Look at this beautiful Russian spindle from Regenbogenwolle. It's so elegant and spins oh so nice. And now that I have 2 of these long boy spindles, I can make bigger skeins. Like, this is no longer a mini skein. And like also, I told you in the video where I was practicing my long draw that the spindle spinning will probably have had a positive influence on the consistency of my long draw spinning, or the ease of getting the rhythm of long draw spinning. But I also think that my long draw spinning exercises were very beneficial for my spindle spinning. So the vice versa movement, like this is super consistent. I don't think I was this consistent during my 100 days of spindle spinning challenge. This is gorgeous yarn. Let's make a couple more of these, and then hopefully we'll be able to finish the sweater. You guys also have no idea whatsoever where I'm at right now. Oh my god, let me show you. This is where we're at. A 1/3 of a sleeve, I think. When I talked about having 4 wheels, I felt like I was validating in having 4 wheels, because they each have their own specialty, or I have my own specialty on each of these wheels. And I kind of feel the same way with the spindles. I was going to say that this spindle is the best for plying, but then it betrayed me. No, it did not. I was just a little bit clumsy. But this spindle is my favorite when it comes to plying. The high, sturdy, broad shaft makes it the perfect implement for some spindle plying. I mean, for me, for my hands, for my way of doing things specifically. That might be completely different for you, as is the human experience. That got deep pretty fast. How can one not get philosophical if one is just outside in between the trees? There is a pigeon flying over my head and I'm just spinning yarn. Right now I feel like every time they asked little me, little Jente, what do you want to do later in life? I always gave the wrong answer, and I just should have said I want to sit on a blanket in the garden and spin later in life. Wait. Oh! I was betrayed, but not by the spindle, but by the yarn. And by my sandals, apparently. Hi. Update. We have a sleeve and a bit. It's a weird sleeve. I don't know. Maybe because my shoulders are so petite and this is looking like a drop shoulder. It's weird to me. Looking rather broad and short as well. Yeah, I'm just going to continue knitting as the instructions say, and then we'll see in the end. Maybe I make some adjustments, some changes afterwards. Like make the cuff a bit longer. That would help, I guess. Oh, and for the very keen-eyed under you, yes, there is only one button band. That's the pattern asks you to make only one. And then just put the buttons on this. However, this is weird because it's curling over. And because of this being ribbing, now this side is much shorter. Probably needs a real good blocking. I thought, let's take our project to another country and finish it. So yeah, now all I need to do is... sorry, I covered the microphone. So yeah, now all I need to do is block it and find some buttons. And maybe also weave in the ends. So upon reviewing the footage I've just made, the sleeves are wildly different in width. I can live with a lot of mistakes, but not with this one. And the broader sleeve is really bothering me. I'm going to frog it and try again. It's going to be a pain in the butt because it's done with 2 yarns at the same time, switching every 2 rows, but it must happen. It must happen. It's going to happen. Hi, we have a project, a damn towel, and an iron. Let's block the living jahibus out of it. Now the main problem area we must block is this button band. Since as this is knit and ribbing, it wants to be smaller than it is supposed to be. Pins. Now that our 2 fronts match up again, lengthwise, it's time to think about some buttons, and I have plenty of buttons to choose from. This is super wild and chaotic, so I could just go entirely wild and chaotic and just have a different button for every buttonhole. Like I have this jar of unassorted yellow buttons. However, I also have these nice vintage buttons. Like maybe something orange. These were once 10 francs, you know, pre-Euro dates. White ones, I mean, you've got so many options. Orange, let's go orange. Let's go orange. I'm feeling in an orange mood. Yeah, I think it needs a bit of contrast. Let's go orange. It is done. She is done. However, are you feeling 1902? Because I'm actually not. I'm feeling like, you know, casual vintage. I mean, that's a vibe I am 100% behind. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not getting 1902 Lady Spencer from this. Could be because I have my shirt collar out of it. The way you style stuff is very important to how people perceive it. It's also because it almost looks like it has bat wings, but that's probably because it is made to fit a corseted and padded out body and not mine. But yeah, I don't know, I just feel very comfortable in this. This is nice. It's just very nice. That's all I can say about it. The yarn feels great. The stripes make me incredibly happy. Just I feel like a little sunflower in a field. I'm so colorful and happy and bright. Some of you sometimes ask, how long do my projects take? And mostly I cannot answer this because I'm working on so many projects at the same time that I forget when I start which project. But this, I can tell you that this has been taking me literally over half a year, because I started the spinning of the yarn for this on December 1st. And today is May 15th. That is how long it has taken me to go from fluff to a finished object, which is this, well, 1902 Lady Spencer, but I'm just going to call it a cardigan, because it's just a nice cozy cardigan. I also do not know what I did wrong with the sleeves, because I just did the exact same thing again, and now they're sorta the same width. I think this one is still a little bit broader, but the difference is not that big as it was before. I'm super happy and proud that I made this out of spindle spun yarn. This is something I still have to get my head wrapped around it. I made this by twirling sticks. Both the spindle and the knitting needles are sticks, but an entire garment made with spindle spun yarn. Oh yes, friends, I did it. And it actually only took me half a year. Like, sometimes they make you do the mental exercise of thinking that all Viking ships had to have their sails spun on spindles, and they make it seem like such an impossible task. Now that I made this, heck yeah, let's make a Viking sail. I can do it. Anyhow, that is all I have left to say about this project, except that please will you stop raining, because I'd rather have some nice outdoor reveal shots as well. Do you have a spindle spun garment already? Or are you maybe just getting into spindle spinning? Is this an encouragement to continue your foray in this? Tell me your adventures in the comments. I really want to know them. And well, if you like this kind of fiber shenanigans, then maybe you could like, comment or subscribe, but of course that is all up to you. And as for me, I will see you in a next video. But before we do that, some more Victorian knitting maybe? Bye!